Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tech Showdown. My name is Kevin. This is my co-host Teddy, and today we're checking out a new keyboard from the guys over at Razer. It is the Razer Blackwidow X Chroma, which is a mechanical gaming keyboard featuring the Razer green switch. So let's jump straight in then with the design, and as you can see straight away, it looks pretty similar to the Corsair K70, if I may say so myself. So yeah, that was just something I noticed. I mean, don't get me wrong, the K70 is a great looking keyboard, but yeah, with the raised up keys and the metal finish, that's just what it made me think of almost straight away. But yeah, a bit of a copy, but hey, if you're going to copy something, at least make it something that's really good looking, and you know, they did that, so that's good. Now, another thing you'll notice compared to the older Blackwidows is that it doesn't have the macro keys down the left hand side like they used to have. Now, some people might be a little bit upset by that, but personally I don't really mind because I never really use macro keys anyway. However, they're gone now, so some people might think it looks a lot cleaner, but other people might be a bit upset that they don't get the macro keys anymore. But yeah, compared to the old one, while we're at it, it just looks way, way better. Much, much better design. I really do like it. It just stands out a lot more than the old one, which just looks super, super standard and super plastic fantastic. When we look around to the back, you'll see that it has routing for the braided cable that it's going with. That's quite cool. Quite a few keyboards doing that now. I don't know. I'm kind of impartial to it. I guess it's helpful for some people. And also it has stands, which can lift it up a bit. However, I liked it just with them down. You know, it's fine. It's got a good height to it anyways, and it's, you know, got a good angle to it, so I think it's just fine with them down. Now let's move on now to the keys. So it's coming with either the Razer green switch or the Razer orange switch. Now, one thing we have to get out of the way straight away is that the Razer green is not a KL switch, like plenty of people say it is. It is not an KL design switch. Razer designed it themselves. However, it is produced and manufactured by KL. So that's just something to keep in mind when it comes to this keyboard. Now, with all that being said, the Razer green switch is pretty much like a Cherry MX blue switch in terms of that it's a tactile switch and the actuation force is the same. So it's very, very similar. However, the actuation distance is a bit shorter than the Cherry MX blue, and it has a sharper bump than the Cherry MX blue. So that's just something to keep in mind. It is quite similar in a lot of ways, but there is that difference which the average user probably won't notice, but an enthusiast might. So that's something to keep in mind. Razer say that it will last 60 million keystrokes. That's really good. That's quite good reliability. And I got to say, it's the best non-Cherry key switch I've ever tested. I always was giving it to the Roma G because I thought that was fantastic. But honestly, these are Razer green switches. I don't know what's changed, because when I tested the last Blackwidow, I think it was quite a while ago, and the Razer switch in that just felt horrible, but these ones feel a lot better. So I don't know if this was manufactured differently or it's just the overall keyboard design has been improved so that the switch feels, you know, way better in the keycaps. But this was just an absolute joy to use, and yeah, the Razer green switch was really, really good. However, it's still not as good as a Cherry MX blue, so don't get me wrong there. Still has that kind of loose, slightly rattly feel compared to the Cherry MX blue, so I would rather that any day over these Razer green switches, but it is getting better, so that's one good thing. Now, they are going to be offering this keyboard with a Cherry MX blue switch, but I don't know when that'll be, and right now it's pretty much like a rumor, although it might have been confirmed, but yeah, it might be coming out, but I haven't seen them for sale anywhere in New Zealand, so maybe where you live you might be able to pick one up with the Cherry MX blue switch, which I would highly recommend over the Razer green switch. However, at the end of the day, the Razer green switch is still decent, and for someone who's not an enthusiast, it'll get you by for all your mechanical key needs. Now, as far as the layout goes, it's all pretty standard. As you can see, we just got some function keys up on the F keys. You can adjust the brightness up there as well, so that's all pretty standard. And as far as actually typing on this, it was great. No real complaints there aside from what we've mentioned with the Switch itself. But yeah, as far as the design goes and layout, yeah, very good for typing, very good for gaming. No real complaints. Still a very, very good mechanical keyboard. Now let's move on to the lighting there. So it's coming with 16.8 million color options, which is becoming a bit more standard now, at least on the RGB mechanical keyboards that are coming out. The lighting looks very, very sexy. I mean, this was already a very sexy looking keyboard with that K70 type design, but the lighting just makes it look even better. It really pops. I really like it. It's just an absolutely fantastic looking keyboard. The Chroma apps and the Razer Synapse software is fantastic also. It changes the lighting to what game you're playing automatically, which I thought was really, really cool, and I noticed a lot when I was playing Overwatch. It's just a really cool feature that they have, and I really like it. I know they're not the first to do it, but I really like the implementation. Let's move over to the features. So it's featuring 1000 Hz polling rate, which is pretty standard nowadays. 10 key rollover, anti-ghosting. I didn't notice any ghosting on it. It was very, very good like that. Yeah, just fantastic. It's coming with that braided cable, and of course the Razer Synapse software, which is really good, very clean, a lot more straightforward than many other softwares out there. But it needs too many updates. It's just constantly being updated, which is a good thing. And that, you know, it's always going to be, if there's bugs with it, they can fix it and all that, but it does get a bit excessive sometimes. But yeah, as far as customizations go, you're going to be able to get it all set up exactly how you want for setting up this keyboard's lighting the way you like it. Which brings us now to the conclusion, and what do I make of the Razer Blackwidow X Chroma? So I think it's an absolutely awesome keyboard. It does a terrific job in all areas, but again, I would have loved it even more if it had the Cherry MX switch in it. But the Razer Green, these new ones, they just seem a lot better than when I tested them a while ago. I don't know if they're being manufactured differently or something else is going on, but it just seems to feel a lot better than it used to. Now, with a price of 279 New Zealand dollars over at Playtech, it is a little bit on the high side, but for an RGB metal mechanical keyboard, I think it's a pretty decent price. It's still a little bit on the high side, but it's not way too high, and I think it is still worth that price for sure. So yeah, it's a solid all-rounder. It's actually quite a bit cheaper than the K70 RGB, which is, you know, something to also take into consideration. But if you can, try get it with the Cherry MX Blue switch, because then it would just make it even better. You know, it'd be so awesome. But as it is, like the one I'm testing with the Razer Green switch, I would recommend it. This is a fantastic, good all-rounder keyboard that should do you very, very well. Now, I thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to Tech Showdown if you haven't already, and like the video. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.